Hello, my friends. Why am I so small in this box here? I don't have anything to share. Oh, there we go. Weird. It's always different. StreamYard has been doing some big updates recently, and while most of their changes are actually really good, I have enjoyed a lot of them. Things change. Buttons are moving around. Where's my lighting? How do I want this to look? Um, it's dark. It's dark already. The sun's already going down here in the Pacific Northwest now that we have the time change and it's getting into winter. So, how is everybody doing? Yeah, doing okay. We've got some epic collections to look at. We've got one epic collection and one DC Finest that we're going to open up today, and I also want to talk to you a little bit about another reading project that I have going on. I love to have multiple books going at the same time. I've got one downstairs, one upstairs in the living room, one by my nightstand, one at the kitchen table, and one in the bathroom. Like there's always a book everywhere, so that wherever I sit down, I just pick it up and continue where I leave off. I'm not the type that likes to just kind of plow through one book all. I can go all the way down until I'm done and then move on to the next book. I like to go all at once. And I think that comes from just being a comic reader my whole life because, you go to the comic book store and you buy a stack of 10 comics or something like that. They're all different stories. And so you're constantly changing things. And that's what I like to do as well. So, um, yes, the one by my bed, my nightstand, but beside my bed is the Epic X-Men Epic collections to go along with the X-Men Reading Club. Before I turn lights out, I read that daily X-Men comic for the Reading Club. If you haven't checked out the Reading Club, you should go to my social media and take a look at all of the posts. I post daily one issue of X-Men that we need to read from Claremont's run every day in order all the way through. And um, let me see here. I got distracted by some of the comments here. I'll get to the comments in a second. Um, uh, what was I saying? The X-Men Reading Club this week is a big week because we are reading the Dark Phoenix saga. We are in the middle of it, and it is so good. If you haven't read this already, gotta read it. If you haven't read it already, then read it again because it's so good. Okay, we've got some people here in the chat. Batman, hi Batman. Um, and James, oh, you changed your name. It was Batman Loves Comics 7907. Still only 25 cents. Good to see you. Uh, Kuromeus, kind of sounds like Curtis a little bit. Hey, King Curtis and everyone in the chat. Hope you're all doing well today. Thanks, Logan Wayne. Yes, in the bathroom. People have always read books while sitting on the can, right? And like nowadays, I think most people just scroll on their phones. But I've got Alley Oop, those books that um I've been showing off there. So every time I need to, this is very personal. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'll take the book in there, read 1 month worth of comic strips, and that's how I get through it. That's how I get through the book. That's so funny. Um, Hope you're doing well. Thanks, Flying Puppet Comics. Hope you're doing well too. Any updates with new announcements coming soon? I don't have anything to report. I'm assuming they're still working on it. I don't know when the day is. They haven't passed us anything, so um, you'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, they should be working on it now. I think maybe um, Omar usually, well, it used to be that you could measure it by we'd get omnibus announcements, and then we get Masterworks announcements, and then we get Epic announcements. That's kind of how it would be. If you saw that the Masterworks announcements came out, then there would be some news very very soon, right around the corner. But now that we don't have Masterworks, it's hard to tell. And kind of omnibuses are just kind of ongoing. They just kind of are always being announced. So I don't know. Unfortunate news, in-stock trades appears to be no longer offering 55% off DC Finest this week. Invisible Luther was only 48%. It was inevitable but nice while it lasted. 55 is still a pretty good discount, right? That's half off. For a book that's 40 bucks, that means it's 20 bucks. That's not bad at all. Um, yeah, I mean, if you are just accustomed to getting it for even cheaper than that, then yeah, sorry about that. Um, I don't feel I'm sorry, but I don't feel your pain because we, all the rest of the world, wish that we got 30% discounts, let alone 48%. Like that's just nuts. So yeah, there you go. Um, okay, hold on a second. I have all at least two books on the go. I think it's good to switch it up and read different things. Like I said, no judgment. People used to read newspapers on the toilet. Now they scroll social media. That exactly, and that was, that's definitely a conscious effort on my part to just kind of put put books in places where if I were to sit down and just start scrolling, I'd rather be just reading. So it's like, let's just make sure that those places are everywhere. Alley Oop was mentioned in a time travel documentary. That's awesome. I love it. That's great. Okay, everybody. Well, shall we open up? Oh, you know what? I'm going to tease you for a little bit. We're not going to open up right now here. Um, I want to talk a little bit about these two books here. The Crossing. I said I had another reading project, and this is what it is. I've decided that I'm going to read The Crossing because I've never read it, and people tell me how much they either hate it or think it's not that bad. I don't think that there is anyone out there who thinks that this is like the pinnacle of Marvel storytelling, but it's in Epic Collections, and this Avengers one's coming out in a couple weeks, and it doesn't have the whole Crossing crossover. It only has the Avengers chapters. And I never got around to reading this one. The late 90s books I've been putting off. Like there are always other ones that I'm like, I'd rather read this, of course. And so it's like, you know what? Now's the time. So there's that one. This is the volume that follows that. It's kind of the second half of the Crossing storyline. But then there's also this volume of Thor World Engine, and this volume of Captain America, Man Without a Country, Mark Waid's first run on Captain America. All of these books start at the same time. They all start in September or October of 1995. And they're all the starts of runs. This is the start of Mark Waid's run. This is the start of Warren Ellis on the title. And then I can't remember who's doing that one. Bob Harris and Terry Kavanagh, I think, are doing those ones. And but they all start at the same time. And even though Captain America and Thor are not in Avengers, like not in the Avengers at the time, they're not in the Crossing. I'm like, why don't we just kind of see how it goes? And I'll read it a month at a time, and then I'll switch between all of them. We'll read all of the September books. We'll read all of the October issues, all of the November ones, and then um, and then we'll see how it goes, because I know that after The Crossing there's a big crossover between all four of these titles called First Sign, which kind of brings all like Captain America and Thor back into play on the Avengers thing, and then all of them end at the same time with Marvel Universe Onslaught, and that leads into Heroes Reborn. So these books, they all actually really go together. So this is what I'm going to do, and I've already read them over breakfast this morning. Um, I read the first couple of issues of the Crossing crossover and the big one shot, and then I read a couple issues of Thor and an issue of Captain America to get me through to um, September and October. All of the September and October books that are in these books. So now I'm on November, and I'll tell you right off the bat, I actually really like them. I really do like Mike Diodato's art, and he's all over this. And is it Tom Rainey that's on? Oh no, Ron Gardney. Ron Gardney is on Captain America. He's good too, and so it's not bad. I enjoyed these quite a bit actually. And maybe this just goes off the rails and it's going to get terrible. I don't know, but I like the first issue here because in the previous volume, I guess Captain America is dead. He's died so many times, hasn't he? He's dead, and so at the beginning of this one, there's a mystery about what's happening with like no, the world doesn't know that Captain America is dead. And then at the beginning of this one, Thor is dying, and as the result of what happened in the previous volume. And so Odin has kicked him out of Asgard, and there's a big mystery revolving that too. It's actually, I really like those first two issues. And then in these ones, oh, not this one. Then in these ones, in the crossing, kind of a neat story of things are just happening that no things are happening that people can understand. Like, let's see, I think it's Spider Girl or Spider Woman. Spider Woman is like cutting some flowers. She puts them in a vase. She turns away, and when she looks back, the flowers are still they're uncut and not in the vase anymore. Or I can't remember who it is. Maybe Scarlet Witch is cracking some eggs into a bowl, and then she turns around and none of the eggs are cracked. They're all whole again. And like, what's going on? And then there's this one of the members of ForceWorks named Nightshade, who's been dating Spider Woman for a couple years or something like that. All of a sudden, Luna says, "I've never seen." Luna is Quicksilver's daughter. "I've never seen that guy in my life." And like, what's going on? So yeah, I like that. It has a good mystery. It's a good start. The Avengers are kind of fractured and not talking to each other, so they were kind of bringing them back together again. And there's some good dialogue. I really like the character dynamics. And we'll have to see, because I understand that it's going to go into some very bizarre places. And oh, Moonraker? What did I say? Nightshade? No, yeah, Moonraker. That's right. Moonraker is the guy. Um, let's see. I'll show you a picture of him, because there's big mystery around this guy as well. He's in ForceWorks. Moon. Oh yeah, Moonraker. Yeah, yeah. There you go. There, that guy. So anyway, off to a good start. I'm enjoying it, and we'll see how it goes. Warren Ellis Thor is short but excellent. Wade Garney Cap is one of the best runs ever on the title. That's very exciting. Um, I'm very excited about that. Captain America: Man Without a Country is my favorite Captain America run. I was crying shame that they interrupted the run with Heroes Reborn. Wait, is that Mark Waid Cap Epic new? It's not new. This is actually one of the earliest Captain America epics. Right when they were first doing first releasing these, they released a lot of those end quote unquote end volumes like right away. Uh, so look at how many epic collections are listed in this in the front of here, just like 2 dozen of them. That's very amazing. But yeah, so this one is one of the ones that was released kind of right off the bat. And yeah, so Mark Waid and Ron Garney, they had a great run, and it was interrupted because of Heroes Reborn, because of the whole restructuring they were doing, and the all the they were trying to boost the sales of all of these Avengers books. So, and then after Heroes Reborn stopped, they got to that resume their run. So they came back on the title. So there you go. I'll report back next week, and I'll let you know how the reading is going. And I'd be interested to know um, if you are reading any of that as well. I would like to know if you have read The Crossing or if you are reading it currently. So Logan Wayne says, "Wow, I've never seen that. How many epics collect the Wade run? I want to look for them now." So it's one volume that collects the Wade run up until Heroes Reborn. This is the whole thing. It starts with Wade and it ends with um it ends right before Onslaught. So the whole thing is contained in here. Now, on the other side of Heroes Reborn, those epics haven't been released yet. But funny you should mention that, because I've got something to show you right now, and it's in this package. How's that for a segue? Okay, they like new box, very complicated to open. Captain America, American Nightmare. This is coming out in a few weeks, and this is Mark Waid and Ron Garney back on the title after Heroes Reborn. So this one is volume 22. Heroes Reborn will be volume 23, and here is volume 24. So there we go. This is the Heroes Return era of Captain America, American Nightmare. So there's the spine, and there's the back cover with MODOK and Captain America with his new whatever energy shield and Iron Man. Paul says, well done for reading Wade Cap and Ellis Thor alongside the crossing. It will keep you sane. What was the volume of 22? It was called Man Without a Country. There you go. So, shall we have a look inside this? This, of course, let's see here. This is 1998 to 1999. Captain America 1 through 14, because all of those titles after Heroes Reborn, all those titles got rebooted back to number 1. So this is Captain America 1 to 14, plus the Iron Man and Captain America Annual 1998. I bet that's what this cover is. And the Captain America and Citizen V Annual 1998, which I recently read because it's in the Thunderbolts Epic Collection. Okay. So let's see here. Oh, that's just a little recap. So issue number 1 had a wraparound cover. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I never cared about any of the Avengers when I was growing up. The comics I read were Spider-Man and X-Men. That's cool that Lady Deathstrike is in here. That's very cool. So I never read Avengers. I never read Thor. I never read Iron Man. Never read Captain America, and I never read Hulk. So I never cared any of those ones. And so when Heroes Reborn came out, and like with Onslaught, I was reading Fantastic Four. I loved Fantastic Four. I was collecting that one, and and so I've read all of that, and Fantastic Four was the only Heroes Reborn title that I read. So all of this stuff is new, and I love that people are so happy about this because um, people speak so highly of this era of Captain America. That looks like maybe some John Romita Jr. Oh no, that's not John Romita Jr. Ron Garney has gone through a lot of like quite an evolution in style. Oh, look at this big text page because what's going on here? In Quicksilver 10 and Avengers 7, Live, Kree, or Die, parts 3 or 4. Okay, so this doesn't include the entire Live, Kree, or Die storyline, which I think is actually included. If you got, there's a thick Quicksilver trade that came out several years ago. I believe that has the whole Live, Kree, or Die story in there. And then hopefully in an Avengers Epic Collection, it'll come out as well. But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, Ron Garney. He went through a big change. His style between this and when he was doing Mutant X changed quite a bit. And I really like both styles, but they're very different. Nuclear Nightmare. There you go. Yeah, there's MODOK. That's probably the annual that we were talking about. And this is, yeah, there's the Citizen V. There's a Thunderbolts tie-in right there. It's a good story, actually. So this is not the first Heroes Return Epic Collection. We've already got one from Thor. We had the Thor. Oh, there's a lot of bonus material in the back here. Yeah, we had the Thor one called the Dark Gods, and that was a good one. I really enjoyed reading that story. Thought it was great. Lots of stuff from Captain America 12 backup feature. Before publication, the original version of Mark Waid's story for Captain America 4 was partly rewritten Two pages of art were removed. Presented here is the original unpublished version of this issue. Wow, that's cool. You had a whole new like that's awesome. Gonna have to read more about that. So there you go, American Nightmare. This is coming out, I believe, the last Tuesday or last Wednesday of December. This is the last epic of 2025. So stay tuned. It'll be in your bookstore soon. It's got a $55 cover price. Canadian price is $68.75. Okay, Logan says, I'm exactly the same, Curtis. I didn't care about Iron Man or Captain America, especially until literally last year. All I cared about as a kid were the X-Men and Spider-Man, maybe Fantastic Four and Daredevil 2 occasionally. Yeah, well, I'm happy that I'm discovering all of this stuff now through the Epic collections because that has been there's been some really good stories there. Wonder Why is rewritten. I'm gonna have to read up on the history. I'm sure it's all told in here, or maybe it'll be clear once you read it. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that they actually wrote that or something like that. Yeah. Oh, Kuromeus says I've yet to figure out what the deal was, and I've read both versions. Well, I bet there's a what's that on comic book resources? There's the comic book legends or comic book myths. Maybe it says on there. Well, there we go. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. Now we have another package to open up, and it's going to be DC Finest. Oh, by the way, I just want to thank Marvel for sending me an advanced look at that Captain America book. I'll post some more pictures of it on my social media, and um, and I'll give you my full report when I finish reading it. And now for DC Finest, The Invisible Luther. This is Superman, DC Finest Superman, The Invisible Luther. If you had to put a volume number on it, this would be volume 2. We've already got volume 1. And this one has Superman Action Comics 26 to 40, plus Superman 6 to 11, New York World's Fair Comics number 2, World's Best Comics number 1, and World's Finest Comics numbers 2 and 3. So it's collecting just the Superman stories from all of these. So like Action Comics was an anthology comic that had a bunch of different characters and serialized stories, and Superman was just one of them. So it only collects the Superman stories. And same with World Finest. For the longest time, that was Batman stories and Superman stories, not together. They were just in the same comic with separate stories. And so it's only collecting the Superman stories from there. There's the, oh, that looks like the same picture that's on the spine of volume 1. I wonder if it is. There you go. There's some World's Fair, Superman. I like this one where they're playing baseball. That's a great cover. I always like the covers in this golden age, in this particular era of DC Comics. I think with the box at the top here, I always gave it a kind of a sense of class. The first volume of Superman comics. So this is golden age. This is like some of the earliest comics, and sometimes they're a little hard to read. But I found that the Superman comics were actually very readable and quite enjoyable. They are very, very fun. And so I'm hoping, I know that that'll change as the years go on, and sometimes it'll be good and sometimes it'll be bad. And let me see here. Uh-oh, no, volume 1 is, what do you mean volume 1 is different? What are you talking about? Still only 25 cents? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it changes already. But this looks very, very similar to what we had before. The Superman still has his old emblem. We still have the original artists and writers on this book here, Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. And so I expect that we're going to see Oh, I see. Stephen Shy Warrior saying, no, the volume one, the spine is different, they say. Okay, well, that's good. I guess, yeah, the other one didn't have a chain. Wasn't there breaking a chain. So as you can see, this is 1940 to 1941. And yeah, this is good stuff. So these are all this is they're using the same files that they've used over and over again through the years. And sometimes maybe the odd page is going to have a different restoration as they find new source material, but for the most part, they haven't changed anything. So the stuff that you see in the omnis is going to be the stuff that's here, which are the same files, I believe, as what were in the old DC archive collections. And you can tell because some of the stuff here is um, there's like gradient fills in the background, which they never used to do it back in the old days with four color printing. So it's like like this here, the fact that it goes from red to yellow in the same page. I'm pretty sure that's not how it was in the original. Someone can correct me if you're wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this is just the coloring that they gave it when they were doing the archives in the late 80s, early 90s, and they've been using these files ever since. This Superman, this is before a lot of his lore is created. There's no Daily Planet. There's no Kryptonite. All of that kind of stuff comes in later on in the mid 40s or to late 40s. And so we just have Superman and Lois going on adventures and not really even super villain bad guys. It's more of like uh, criminals and mad scientists, because yeah, we have the invisible Luther. He's in this book, but he's a mad scientist at this point, and that kind of thing. A lot of uh, you'll find some stereotypes in here and that kind of thing as well, but for the most part, it's very kind of grounded street level activity. I don't think you're going to see Superman going into outer space or anything like that in this one. Maybe you will. I'm not sure. Haven't read it yet. I'll be reading it for the first time this time here. Are Golden Age stories a struggle for you to read like they are for some people, Curtis, or is it okay because you're used to reading comics from that period and earlier? It really depends on the writer because not all writers write the same way. I can tell you right now that Terry and the Pirates, and I always talk about Terry and the Pirates, is a comic from the Golden Age, but it's a newspaper comic strip. That one started in 1934, so a few years before Superman came out, and it reads like a modern comic. Like it's really, really good. Not a modern comic. I would say it reads like a comic from maybe the late 70s, early 80s, and and it's great. And you can just breeze through all of that stuff. And like I said earlier, Superman, the first volume, I actually had a fine time reading it. I didn't think that there was any problem. I do struggle sometimes with just the way that dialogue is crafted. It's not the fact that there's too many word balloons, it's the fact that it's just so dry. And I find that with the Silver Age as well. Stanley is not like that. I think Stanley is really easy breezy to read, but someone like Roy Thomas is, especially in those early years, is not. So it really depends on who the writer is. So these guys, great. Batman, I have a harder time with. I think that writing is a lot more stiff, and the artwork is a lot more stiff as well. This stuff is pretty stiff too. Again, if you compare this comic to something like Terry and the Pirates, like Terry and the Pirates just is miles ahead. It just looks like it wasn't even written in the same era. It's quite a world of difference. These guys were very amateur when they were starting out. I like this cover. It reminds me of the Fleischer cartoon where Superman is battling the giant robots, which is may actually be inspired by this issue. I don't know, but one of my favorite cartoons. I love those old Max Fleischer cartoons from the 40s. They're so good. I think Superman is the only character who had such a long-running history. I plan to try to get all of. Well, Mr. Negative, you better hop on those omnis then. Don't wait for DC Finest because if that they're going to take a long time because there are, I think, 8 Superman Golden Age omnis. So if that's the case and they split each of those in half, I'm assuming they're about 1,000 pages, and they give well, maybe actually, even if they're 1,000 pages, if they're 1,000 to 1,200 pages, like a regular size Omni, and and you get 3 epic collections out of that, and there's 8 of them. That's what, 24 volumes of um DC Finest Superman, just the Golden Age. And if they give us only one a year, that's 24 years to get just through the Golden Age, and then 24 more. Like, it's going to be a long time to collect these through DC Finest. So I probably, if you want to get them all, you're going to want to jump on those Omnis, I think. I also thought this first Superman Finest was easy to read, but Justice Society was more of a struggle. Absolutely. I agree there. That one's interesting because Justice Society, each issue was like a promo for another book. So they had the writers and the artists drawing a little short, 4 or 6 page story about the character that they do in another book. And so you have one story that's all supposed to connect, but each chapter is done by a different writer and a different artist, and that made things a little bit difficult here and there, a little bit hard. So that's but yeah, I agree. That one was more of a struggle than this one here. I'm only doing it in DC Finest. I don't care how long it takes, as long as I'm still kicking, hopefully. That's a great attitude. I'm the same way. Personally, I don't care if it never gets finished. I'm not a DC completist or enthusiast in the same way that I am for Marvel. So I'm just happy they come out at a regular clip, and I'll keep on picking them up as long as I am able to. And there we go. I'm going to read this, and then I'll give you my full report on this one on Dom of X on his YouTube channel when we do our DC, our Finest Friday, which I think is going to be on the 19th, the week before Christmas, because the Finest Friday is usually on the last Friday of the month, and that's Boxing Day or the day after Christmas. It's called Boxing Day here in Canada, and um, I'm gonna I'll be out of town, so we're gonna do it the week before. That's Andy Kubert on Cap. One of his best jobs. Wow, he's done a lot of good stuff. You're talking about this book here, hey? Um, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, that was Andy Kubert. When I was like, "Who is that?" JR. No, you're right. I did. Now that you say that, that's totally the same style, and I recognize it from his work on like Ultimate X-Men, that kind of thing. So this is around the same era. That's a cool picture. Oh, you have Boxing Day in the UK too? I think we have it in Canada because you have it in the UK. I'm pretty sure it's a holdover from when all you Europeans came over to Canada. Boxing Day probably existed in the United States until the American Revolution or something. There we go, everybody. So, what did I talk about today? Captain America Epic Collection, Volume 24. 24. It's called American Nightmare, coming out at the end of December, last week of December. And then we also talked about Superman, DC Finest Superman, The Invisible Luthor, comics from 1940 and 1941. This one is in stores this week. So head out to your local comic shop or your bookstore, or find it on In Stock Trades for 48% off. And then we also talked about The Crossing. And if you missed it at the beginning, I was saying I have a new reading project. I'm going to be reading through The Crossing over the next little while because is it really as bad as people say it is? I want to see. I can't imagine it's going to be as bad, but who knows? Next week, I'll have, I believe, 2 epic collections to show you. It'll be one modern and one classic. And hopefully I'll have another DC Finest as well. I think one should be coming into my mailbox soon. And then, yeah, that's it. A lot of reading to do. So stay tuned. You'll be able to get all of that information next week. And then, yeah, tune in on Mondays for my weekly roundup of X-Men issues that I've read during the week. A lot of reading to do, not enough time. I hope that you are all getting a lot of reading done as well. It's always you always have this pile of books stacked way up high, and um, thanks, Super Chop. Condolences for having to read The Crossing. I'm doing it by choice. No one is making me, so you don't have to feel sorry. I'm bringing this upon myself. So, just want to put that out there. I'm genuinely curious, and the first few issues have actually been really good. I enjoyed the start, and we'll see how long it takes for the whole thing to get derailed. But there we are. So that's it. This is my live stream. Thanks everybody for joining me today. Um, Life does get in the way, especially when you have children. It's like, why can't they just like leave me alone so I can read? No, I got to do stuff with them. No, I'm joking. I love my kids. Okay, keep reading comics, everybody. Join me next Monday um, for my X-Men recap, and then as soon as I find out anything about X-Men, or sorry, about Epic Collection announcements, I will post it on my social media. I will let everybody know when we are doing those announcements as soon as I find out. Okay, thanks. Have a good night, everyone. See you later.